Alright, it's 7 p.m. Login rewards daily is happening in the Central Time here in USA. And yeah, so this is the beginning of daily reset for me. I've been working on a schedule that I can kind of flow with, and anyone who joins the guild and plays Guild Wars 2 here would be able to join up and participate in this daily beginnings. So the idea is participating with networking and affiliate programs. You know, I'm personally using Mob Crush, and I'm partitioning out to Twitch and YouTube and Facebook. And I'm real big about respecting the people who are working to stream and helping to, you know, cross-promote live streamers while providing other types of content that would be beneficial in making our lives easier, and not stressing over copyrights or anything like that, but doing it all in-house and helping to provide that various artistic you know, goods for being able to create a presence. So as a gamer, I know it's one of the more powerful things for us as gamers to see the entrepreneurship layers going on with the cloud and rising to meet those challenges by recognizing we're here, and all we got to do is just work on sharing the road and aligning in the most efficient, genuine ways possible to actually start making some real change in our world for developing new processes, business, you know, methodologies, and ways for aligning here with the cloud. Oh, I might hit it. Oh, yep, no, it got me. I'm still learning this character, so it's not like I'm 100%. I'm not 100% with the rotations. There's a lot of different things going on that I'm still not fully locking into. One of it is this is a quick brand support healer, and I am using staff right now, which might be good for world versus world, but being that this is PvE, I'm actually in the process of making a scepter, an ascended scepter, and an ascended torch. So that's kind of the two weapons, which I don't have an ascended scepter or torch for any other character, so that's kind of something that I've been needing to make. And now I have a reason to make it, simply because I'm looking to run a build with, instead of staff here, it'll be scepter, torch, and then I'll switch out the shield and axe. And that should boost my overall DPS. But there's definitely stuff going on with my defensive and just how to dodge and what skills are capable of doing what at what times. Like, it doesn't seem to have too many stun breaks. It's a lot of prior to, like a lot of defensive, preventative measures prior, rather than responsive, you know. Engineer is very responsive class where there's a lot of preemptive as well, but a lot of it is responsive. You know, you see things coming at you, you are able to play accordingly. Be it, you know, you get knocked over, you're able to get up real quick, or if you're trying to get out of the way, you can avoid and, you know, evade pretty easy. And this one is a little bit more tightly knit, and you can pull certain mobs towards you. But when you want to get that DPS out, a lot of it is a support class and helping your teammates through debuffing and buffing them as well. And that's where the Feel My Wrath comes into play, and being able to speed up their action buttons is a pretty cool effect to help out multiple people around you type thing. So there, I got my. I got those defensive tomes off right in time because they were taking my health pretty quick. So it's like sometimes you can hit your shield, and like that's when I'm used to like engineers like hitting my shield to block, but it's a different kind of block, you know. So it's like it's not as it's more of a AOE block versus it being a personal block as with the engineer. So I'm having to readjust how to use the blocking skill and when and how and all that jazz, you know. And then that's where the tomes, defensive tomes, come into play. And of course, you know, all the classes have a different different gameplay with the weapons, you know. So whereas the ranger with an axe is a long range weapon, this is a little bit more of a closer range. I think it's like 600 or 300 at most range for this axe. It doesn't say on there. Range 130, yeah, 130 range. 600 is the farthest for the pulling them towards you, and then 180 for the actual just one hit. So one is actually not very doesn't go very far. So you gotta kind of be right up on the mobs for whatever you're hitting, which means that they can hit you a little bit harder if you're in front of them. And so there's that interplay of learning how to dodge, but you don't really have more than the 2 dodges, and there's not really too many evades, and if you get knocked over, there's no way to get back up. So it leaves for a little bit more of a different kind of gameplay than what I'm used to, and I'm having to adjust to that. So that's what's really cool about Guild Wars 2, though, is it really, the game wants you to try out the different classes, and it wants you to experience the different stories for the different modes, based on your race that you choose. It's fun to play multiple different classes, but after a while it becomes too much playing the same class over and over and over again. And so by having the ability to work with other classes, it really makes a difference in the type of game it is. I played EverQuest for a long time, and I was stuck on a cleric for years, and sometimes I wanted to play other classes, and it didn't feel like it was really easy to switch over because you log in and that's what your guild would expect of you, is to play your main, and then everything else from there would be based on fun, you know, like fun. It was kind of like that work level for like more advanced abilities in EverQuest that you had your work character, and then you had your fun characters as your alt. But your main was usually your main character. So Guild Wars is a lot different. It's like you can have a main that is, you know, pretty much geared out to be able to do most of the gameplay modes. And you can have a lot of fun with just one character and get too far and entertain. But you're going to get items and certain things that are going to create a sensation of just having too much and needing to put it somewhere. So in that process of putting items in places, usually you start to use the, you know, your extra character slots and create more bag space for yourself. And, you know, there's ways to be able to use your alts to help the process of building up your account. Because a lot of games is really about building up your account, not just your character, but it's really about building your account, because as your account gets easier to play and gets it just gets certain perks. Once you get certain things, be it extra space, extra bank space, extra material space, you just get certain things that once you get it, and it's there to make things easier for yourself. So when you start to kind of get to the end game with those items, and I'm still going to keep progressing again. For that, it makes it to where you can kind of focus on gearing up your other characters. And eventually, you do hit a peak when the game ends, you know, and that's with any, you know, MMO until they create more content. So the only reason why EverQuest is still around is because there's still people who are developing for it, but it's very, you know, very much based on a pattern that they work with that will work for them, and it keeps, you know, the people who enjoy that game experience, you know. So there's a lot of different games out here beyond, you know, EverQuest in this day and age, and Guild Wars 2 even. And I know that, you know, people are in New World, and a lot of people are getting, you know, into Elden Rings and whatnot. And you know, all these games are really cool, and I'm real big about, you know, networking, entrepreneurship, socializing across platforms and cross games. You know, creating a community that will, you know, stick with one another and communicate with one another and help one another out as networkers and entrepreneurs, you know, helping people out as streamers and content creators, while we have fun with one another with the different games that are coming out, and talk about any new games coming out that, you know, maybe, you know, the guild can be able to migrate over that way once, you know, people have had their fill of this one. I see this game lasting another, you know, 8 to 10 years easy, just based on, you know, there's not really much out there in the market that a lot of people on a mass level computers can handle. And, you know, some of the, you know, computers, for like the newer games are have to be pretty solid. You know, I mean, they're really nice computers to run some of the newer games, but some of the older computers can't run some of those newer games, while Guild Wars 2 here can run, you know, on older computers. The graphics won't be the best, you know, it won't look like this based on me, you know, running an i7, on an i7 laptop, but you can get a nice laptop, you know, it's very CPU heavy, so you can get a nice laptop with a really strong CPU, you know, the graphics processor will just kind of shape that, you know, but the idea is a higher, a better CPU capability load, and then, you know, the graphics processor will give that boost that is part of that. Okay, so I'm getting my day started here. The big reason to do Takal here is for the karma. You get, for a few minutes, you get a lot of karma, and you get a chance at some decent loot. You know, I got 3 gold there, plus, you know, from the shiny baubles, but there's other stuff that you can get that you can sell. And then, from here, the idea is to go over to the anomaly. Okay, here we go. Here's the other 2 different tiles. There. So, the idea is to do certain things daily. So, at about 7:22, I like to arrive around 7:20. I'll go to Timberline Falls here at the Valence Tutory waypoint. So that gives me a couple minutes to be able to farm a couple spots before that happens. So usually there's a pretty big crowd at that waypoint, and this is, you know, it's a good time at 7:20, 7:22 to get that 1 mystic coin, because those add up. So that's one way to offset your if you're working on a legendary or whatever, legendary armor, whatever it is, you know, it's going to cost you, you know, probably about 250 mystic coins. So you can estimate, if you don't buy any, by doing the anomaly 250 times, you know, within a year you'll be able to have enough mystic coins to make a legendary weapon. So that's one way to look at it. Another way is to look at it as, you know, that's extra gold in your material storage. You know, there's a few items in this game that I don't look at fully like a material item. You know, I look at it as like a gold. Mystic coins would be considered your gold. So like, whereas like in our in our actual society we have money, you know, dollar bills, and then you have these coins. You know, these gold coins would be representative of that, and then you have your you know, you have your mystic coins in the game, which is more similar to gold. But then you also have your gems, you know, your gem sword prices, so that's a little bit different than silver doubloons, or gold doubloons, or mystic coins, or ectoplasm. Ectoplasm's another one. Ectoplasm is a pretty good one to, has interesting buy and sell price margins. You know, I've seen it go up and down in price. So I'm just quickly collecting elderwood logs, but really what I'm looking for is I'm looking for the what is it? I'm looking for hardwood logs, as well as ancient wood logs. The elderwood logs are good to get. I get them as I can. So right now I'm going over to my home instance, and I got some nodes inside the home instance that I'll be able to pick up some stuff here. I'm still working on, you know, my pathways for being able to do this this whole run effectively. So right now, going to Paga's waypoint and picking up the elderwood logs has been you know, step one, and then going to my home instance seems to make sense to me if I can get in and out of here within a few minutes. So I'm still kind of creating my personal run here, and I'm suggesting, you know, anyone who participates and guild with me to do the same if you haven't already. Hey! Greetings, Yatala Silva. I like that name, that's cool. You on YouTube? So I'm still working on the home instance here. There's still a few things I need to get. Next thing I'm gonna be getting for it is a ancient wood node. Recently got the iron and platinum as well as Aurelium here. Aurelium is really helpful. So I got portable imposter. That's not what I want. I want the ley line and energy matter converter. Ley line. Let's see here. Airship parts. Oh, I should have gotten the educational supplies. I wonder what that's about.
Until next time.
I don't know if I've seen this before, or maybe it's been there, I just overlooked it. Spirit shards, cool. That's worth it. Some softwood logs, which, I mean, you need them. I mean, they're part of it. Greenwood logs, not so much. I don't use greenwood logs for really much at all. But the seasonwood logs, yeah. So I got seasonwood logs, and then here's my hardwood logs. Daily progress. I'd like to get PvP in. I've been still doing the Dragonstorm event because I haven't gotten the 10 down, so for a while I'll be doing Dragonstorm event until I get the masteries for it. And that's something that I didn't really even look into at first, so I haven't been doing them until more recently. And those start at 8. Or I can do them a little bit later.
Never have too much treasure.
Okay, so it's 7:20. I'm gonna go ahead and leave the instance and head to that location. Now the thing is I've been like I have this set of tools for the volatile magic, and I've been doing everything with the volatile magic tools simply because every time that I collect volatile magic, I look at it as like, you know, you collect about, you know, 15 to 20 different things, and you're looking at 100 plus volatile magic, and 100 will give you access to trophy goods, and the trophy goods, you know, usually equal out to 30 silver to a gold. So that was a little bit late, I think, showing up. And I don't have that was like a little bit too late, so I think it shows up at 7:20, and then I should be there at like 7:18. So that's kind of like I could more than one then. There we go. Just got a mystic coin. And that frees me up to go do a little bit of farming here. Because usually this oh, there's some unbound magic in the water. So unbound magic is the alternative to volatile magic, and both can be able to get you some supplies. However, only one will allow for I'm just gonna swarm with the challenge. Yeah, man. Thank you all, I needed that. Go ahead and pick up this waypoint down here. And yeah, so okay, so next time I'm gonna do my best to show up at like 7:18. I was talking a little bit, so I kind of can get away with that day. And this pine sapling might be able to give me some hardwood. I figured I'm gonna go ahead and start working on mastering this character. I've been patiently waiting for Predator to sell, but I'm really patient on that. I'm not in a rush, but I do have a weapon up on the trade market, and I'm looking to pick up Bolt once it sells. So Bolt is one of the one-handed legendary swords, and I'm working on the legendary Orine sword, so that way I'll have 2 legendary swords right off the bat and don't have to worry about having to have you know, ascended swords to deal with, a second sword for dual wielding sword classes. Which I am looking to try Willbender. You know, Willbender looks fun. But I haven't even touched Willbender. Never even really did the beta test play for it at all. I only tested Catalyst. I tested the Mechanist when that first came out. And I think I might have tested Gunslinger, but I haven't actually played the Gunslinger. That actually looks like a fun class also, just a little bit different than how most classes have operated in the past. It's more like that is kind of like medium to mediocre damage, and then you hit them with that gun, and if you can get really repetitive at it, it can really put your DPS up there, but I don't know how all that works. I haven't looked into it. And of course, there's always been, you know, when it comes to World versus World, there's always adjustments going on the back end to give some type of balanced gameplay. So you can never really, you know, sometimes it can be awesome, and they, you know, adjust things because it's not so awesome for some of the other classes. But you know, that's the dynamics of MMOs in general. So you're gonna deal with that no matter what game you're playing. From what I've seen, this game does a really good job, and you know, even carrying it put some effort into, you know, throughout the work, you know, throughout the months, the moons, cycles. There's, you know, a lot of work that goes into keeping this game fresh. And some of it we don't see off, you know, out the gate, you know, because they gotta work on it and develop it. But I definitely know they got a process now and an overall game to work with, where they can add all kinds of different types of events, and they can really focus on the gameplay aspects. You know, the types of environments for unique types of events that, whether it's PvP or World versus World, there's ways to start doing things that can really give a sense for why we've been building all this gear for so long, why we've been training for raids. There's a sense of advancement and skill level that should be reflected in the challenges that involve, you know, the players going up against each other. And you can see that. I mean, you can see it in PvP, and there is a little bit of an elitism with PvP. If you're new to the game and you jump into if you jump into ranked PvP, you'll notice it's a little bit of an intense, you know, situation. And sometimes you'll get players that even, like, if they're really intense seasoned players, they'll work around you, you know, and they'll double time it, you know, go for that win type thing, and doing your best to meet the players by participating, you know, doing the best you can with whatever game mode you're in. And I mean, yeah, you can get away with just hitting one in this game, and in many instances, but there is a level of really, like, kind of going full blast. You know, there's definitely a state of going 0 to 100 in this game for sure. You know, there's, like, right now I'm casually running at a 2%, you know, 2 to 5%, nice casual run. You boost it up to 9%, you know, boost it up to 11%. You know, there's like intensities to the game, and then you got, you know, your level 100 fractals at the end, and that would be your 100%. And sometimes they can even go up to 111% when you have those intense, like, moments where you're like at, you know, 1% and almost everybody's dead, and you're like, is this gonna actually happen? And, you know, a few people who are still alive make it happen, and you know, it's like on, you know, fighting your teeth moments throughout the whole thing. So, you know, the game, that's like the fun part about the actual game, is getting experience with people, and and getting experience with your different characters, and being able to help and participate in different events, and then you have your off times and silly dance parties that go on in the game too. Because you have in real life you have your downtime. It's like I'm not always behind my character. Sometimes I'll take an AFK break and log out to the one screen, or go do some stuff for a couple minutes and come back and keep at it. I don't need to be farming completely here. I got 30 minutes technically, so I'll go ahead and get my dailies done, and I'll go ahead and jump on my PvP character here. I apologize for not having music. I'd like to get some more music going. It's something that I'm doing my best to layer in. I've had projects that I've been working on that's not for the project of having music for the live stream, and I'd like to have it to where I can easily make some music for the live stream and have that accessible for anyone who's a live streamer and has been looking for music that doesn't have copyrights or is going to get you in trouble for playing it in the background of your live stream, And I know that there's different sites you can search for that type of thing, but I'm more into meeting people who are into that vibe and creating stuff based on being into that vibe and not wanting to deal with copyrights. It's one thing to do a search on YouTube looking for somebody who's created a channel, and I don't know if any of those songs are not copyrighted, and I don't know that individual, and I don't know where they got those songs from. I'd like to get a little bit more integrated with the musicians and artists out there who are creating a presence with the hobby stance, as like or creating a presence as an artist based on a blogger, an equitable stance that you want to share the net with others in the same way, and in that stance you create a new way of participating with one another with the cloud here. And that's the goal that I've been talking about, looking at the long view in the next 10 years. So I'm giving this game another 10 years. It's been out about 10 years, so usually MMOs last much longer than, once an MMO hits that 10-year mark, it's basically kind of like it's in the books for gonna be able to stick around for a while. There's a lot of people who have characters in this game. They're not gonna just turn off the game and say, okay, we're done. Good luck. Thanks for playing. And I mean, that's pretty much what everybody's character is attached to here is. The rules and the structuring of ArenaNet, and that's kind of the reason also why it is being hosted by a corporate entity, in the sense of it has that background knowledge base, and all the people who were in the past censoring movies and determining what's allowed to be released into the marketplace for the mainstream. It's been part of that dynamics, it's definitely been viewed based on those rules, and that has been the challenge with the game in many ways, because it has a lot of different simplistic qualities to it, to where anyone who's young can start to jump in and start having fun in a simple way. 9-10 years old can easily start to process what this game's about. And have fun with it, and then, it goes all the way up. It's like, I remember my cousin was 13 when he was playing a really difficult class in EverQuest, and a lot of times we'd do some really cool events, and I knew he'd be able to accomplish whatever was needing to be done, and he was really young in many ways to be there with a lot of the older heads, but he was able to do the gig, and we were able to get stuff done. So I mean, age isn't really so much of a thing when it comes to being able to play the game. Age is a big thing for me, involving the community and Ethos Del Terra Sol, my network, the massive multiplayer online gaming entrepreneurs network is what I'm coining it. And I'd rather people be into MMOGENs versus NFTs as a thing, you know. And our world is heading in an interesting direction, and I'm putting my foot down on the direction that I'm going, and here to share the road with anyone who would like to participate in, you know, creating a leadership stance and giving back a percentage of what you're earning through online networking, affiliate programs, businesses. What you earn and make is not on anyone's, you know, it's no one's business. You know, no one should ever ask you, oh, how are you doing in that business, or how much have you made. That's not really important. How are you, you know, what are you making as an affiliate, blah blah blah. That's like asking someone how much they make, you know, as a salary, or how much you make at an hourly position at a job. You know, there's things you just don't ask people. It's rude. And so that's what is kind of in transition, is people are having to be respectable of one another with the different types of business models that are coming into play with the internet. And there's a lot of people who've had certain ideas and projected their sense of self with computers and business to make, you know, almost brush it off as it's not important. And I've been here saying, no, networking online is super important, but doing it in the right way is equally as important. And what is the long-term goal and view as networkers in the marketplace, and what we're investing in with the sales that we make. So as people make sales, what are we investing in long-term that's going to meet the challenges of knowing that, you know, sometimes people become salesmen and they sell something for a short period of time until it's no longer viable to sell and they have to move on to something else. And so there's like a lot of talk about, you know, death of a salesman, and like a lot of different stuff about how people are just tired of that kind of industry, and there has to be a better way to do things. And that's where I'm here to say, well, there is, if we create that place. You know, we have to create that space for one another and share the road as, you know, representatives of it. And so I've been here saying I'm representing that space, but I've been overlooked by, you know, the spaces that have been in play for years. You know, whether it's elite families and their orchestrations within their networks and businesses that they've created over hundreds of years, and the investment layers and people that they have networked with. And you know, anyone who has been alive, you know, family should be respected. You don't know what people have gone through and why they've had to make the decision they've made. You know, a lot of people who aren't in a position of making decisions are quick to judge, you know, what certain decisions have happened, you know, certain things that happen, but you don't see the causality. You gotta look at the causality of certain things in play. You know, you may say, well, that doesn't make any sense, why would they do that? But you might not be looking at the, you know, 3, 4, 5 different steps down the line of why. You know, it's like you kind of have those types of situations going on all the time, all around the world. And so that's where having faith in a greater spirit and you know, resting in knowing things are taken care of, and doing your best to breathe through the days and find that zen point and get the work done that needs to be done to get through to the next day in the stacking and building and leveraging process here. So it's like all work, but if it's done in a way that is kind of how this game is teaching. I mean, this game literally kind of teaches you to get into a mode of, you're not going to get everything that you want all at once. It's going to take years. But if you start working on little things to be able to see the bigger picture of whatever item or mastery or skills, you know, that you're looking to develop in the game, you just spend a little bit of time working towards it, and eventually you have it, and then you move on to the next thing. And so you can kind of realize that's what this game's all about, is not knowing that it's not gonna, you know, it's not a 60-hour to 100-hour game like Final Fantasy pre-net days. You know, this is a slow burner, and if we're here online with the digital space, I'm all about the slow burner kind of experience with y'all and in sharing this space with y'all. But I'm also in the efficiency and the intellectual alignment for using the web space to be in a position to earn through business and online entrepreneurship endeavors. So right now, my current sponsor that I am being sponsored by is a online mall that has over 500 different goods. And I've been looking for a business that doesn't have like, you know, it's not just selling you cheap products. Like I had been looking for a business that actually had good quality products, good quality business structure for anyone who gets involved, and this actually has like an easy, simple business, membership process where you're not spending money off the bat to see if you do or don't like something. You know, you can be able to get involved and browse. It's like signing up for a free membership at Amazon. The only difference is it's a private network that you have to have a private invite, and that's what I'm here representing. Is we want people to sign up. We want it to be almost like a public experience. We want people to be involved in trying out these products over just going and shopping at, you know, the regular store, getting products that probably aren't as good or, you know, as refined as some of these products that are a little bit new on the marketplace and are coming from an interesting mentality for a business structure, and you have to listen to the videos. There's a lot of different videos and educational services that come with participating in the business side of things. So you don't have to participate, and you know, this is with many businesses out there online, is you don't have to participate in the business side of things. You can simply shop, and that is helping people who are participating in the business side of things to gain and you know, buy more products for themselves, or to use that as a business, you know, online business earnings, you know. So there's a lot of different businesses out there competing against each other, and I've taken the time and effort to research over the last, you know, 5 to 10 years the direction that I would like to head and the types of businesses that are out there, and the reason, you know, for going through different things when it comes to creating space for one another as leaders within the marketplace. So there's like the whole idea with any networking business is, okay, you join the business, now you need to become a leader and figure out how to promote the product. You know, a lot of them are like, all right, create a list, which is a great idea. I think you should create lists and reach out. And I'm about to be into that whole reaching out to people and getting people into the whole networking by reaching out. But I'd like to kind of put the word out here first, the way I'm doing it, and get it to where people here, you know, there's a way to go about networking with one another as gamers, artists, and it has almost like a panhandle sense to it, but that's the equitable sharing of the road reasoning. Okay, so I got a PvP match here I'm going to do real quick before jumping into Dragonstorm. So Dragonstorm starts at 8, PvP matches go for about, they go for about, they go for about 15 minutes here. This is a 3 versus 3, so they're a little bit quicker, I think, than the 5 versus 5. I don't remember this being here. That's interesting. They'll let you get all the way back here and fight in the pocket there. Okay, here we go. This is what they're I'm all quiet here with no sound. I really should have some music. 1, 2, 3. I'm all about some PvP in this game. I need to get more into World versus World. The World versus World is, you know, World versus World is, it's not as intense. It's not like in your face as PvP, and then at the same time it can be. I mean, you got your Zergs, but I mean, if you're good enough, I mean, I guess I just haven't done enough roaming, because I know that roamers might have another, you know, something to say about that. I need to jump into World versus World. That's for sure. Oh boy, oh yeah, they got it. I think they got it. Alright. That's a pretty funny name. Basically just saying, yeah, I AFK after I get the clip. Nice little win. Didn't take long at all. We got like 5 minutes. Cool. Okay. So because I had the boosters on, got my 2 gold for the daily completionist, and still got those boosters on. I'm gonna go ahead and open up a blackline chest key here.
Rare treasure.
I'm pretty sure that the new reward track gives you it gives you mystic clovers. Like, you can get a good amount of mystic clovers. I don't know if that's just because it's the first time I've done it or something like that, but I need to look at that again. PvP. Reward tracks. Oh man. Let's check it out. Let's do one more. Let's do one more here. Because they're not as long, because like normally the alright, I'll just get some jazz going here.
I have lost 30 pounds using Noom.
I've lost 188 pounds with Noom.
I've lost 70 pounds.
Now, I wanted to see what you get with the end. So, that's the nice thing about having the boosters on.